So 1 or 2 weeks ago, it was unfortunately announced that 25,000 people will be losing their jobs because a couple of the big chains in the UK were going to go bankrupt. So I'm going to talk about that on today's video and tell you why I think it's going to be significant. So Debenhams and Arcadia look like they're going to let all their stuff go. It's complicated. Maybe there'll be a solution somewhere, but it seems like most of those people are going to lose their jobs. Now, the reason this is significant is this, that any British person or even anyone who's lived in the UK for a few years will actually know Debenhams. And so it's a very big chain, and it reminds me of when Woolworths went bankrupt about 12 years ago. It's very significant for a lot of people because we've all heard of these brands. But I think what it does show is this. Now, obviously, more money is going online. But what's interesting is some shop fronts have actually adapted quite well to this. I can remember a few years ago, I was in House of Fraser, and usually it's considered like a high-end luxury brand. But what was interesting is when I went to the store in Birmingham, they seemed to be encouraging people to shop around, look around, not buy in store, but then go away, actually order online for a cheaper price and come in and collect the item. And I can remember I got a really cheap deal on a suit that would have usually cost a lot more money. I don't usually wear suits, as you can see, right? But I needed to wear one on that occasion for an event. But anyway, the point is, you know, that's a good model from the point of view. People can look around, they can try on some clothes if they want, but they can then still take advantage of the online world and actually get cheaper prices. And for that matter, decide, do you want it to be shipped to your home address, or do you want to collect it in store and then try it on again and whatever. And that's one example, but I think a lot of these stores haven't really adapted to this reality. But I think beyond that, it's actually indicative of a wider trend I've spoken about before, and that's that deep down these days, a lot of people actually, I know it sounds antisocial, but it's true, don't like too much human interaction. That doesn't mean that most people like to be in a room on their own 365 days a year, but people in general, I think, are becoming less tolerant of people they don't know trying to push them into things. So for example, who these days wants to be in a store and somebody's trying to kind of sell them something? Now, I'm not saying these shops try to do that. In fact, in the UK, it's quite a normal thing now culturally to say to someone, oh, do you want any help, sir, or something like that. It's not very culturally normal anymore to be very pushy, which is good. But I think the reality is, and I think this isn't just for these two stores, it's more general across the whole economy. If you go to the airport anywhere in the world, be honest, usually the experience in the e-gates is better than the normal gates for a simple reason. It's quick, it's simple, it's efficient, and guess what? There's one person or two people who are there in case you have a problem. In comparison, when there's a human on the other end, they often make you a bit uncomfortable, asking you all these questions. Where are you going to stay today, sir? What hotel are you going to be in? All these kind of things. And if we're being really honest, one of the reasons that online has actually taken off isn't just because it's cheaper. It isn't just because it's traceable. It isn't just because you can see reviews from other people. It's also because it feels more comfortable. There isn't somebody there trying to tell you to do something. So I think one of the key reasons why more and more stores will go to the wall isn't just because online is cheaper, because a lot of people say, oh yeah, well, if you put more taxes on Amazon or something like this, people will go back to the high street. I think that's missing a key point here. A lot of people do not want any human interaction now. So believe it or not, if you opened up a store which is similar to Debenhams, and basically there was very few staff on the shop floor, most of them were outside, but there were buttons you could press if you needed help, and there would be one or two people there who would be there in case they could see somebody wasn't scanning the items well. I think that store could do very, very well. It's like supermarkets. Now there's a lot of humanless counters where you can scan your own barcodes. There's going to be people there though if you get into trouble. But the point is, a lot of people like that experience where they can go into the supermarket, they can buy what they want, they can pay using a card, of course, they can use the barcode themselves, And most of the time you don't need any human interaction, but there are people there in case you want that human interaction. And I think that's one thing that face-to-face shops could actually do. They could learn from why online is successful, reduce staff numbers but still have them there, and very much have people there as a backup in case the machines aren't working properly. And I know it sounds antisocial, and a lot of people won't admit they prefer to use the humanless section, but there's a lot of people out there who far prefer to have a humanless experience, but humans are there just in case there's a problem with the machine or something like that. And I think if shops can adapt to that, there will still be a place for them in the future.